Hello, and welcome to my channel. Is Canada's Mark Carney the man that's going to take on Trump? Is he going to save the world from Trump's politics and his economic policies? The tarot had some interesting things to say, so let's get to it. So the first card I pulled was the Page of Swords. Now, the Page of Swords, this is a fresh energy, new beginnings, new possibilities, hope, idealism, fresh ideas. This card jumped from the pack as I was shuffling, and to me, a jumper card is always a strong message from the universe that the universe wants you to know, wants you to get. And so when this jumped, it was perfect because it really represents to me who and what Mark Carney is and represents right now. So the Page of Swords started this reading, and I think it's a very appropriate card to do so. The second card I pulled was the Nine of Swords. Now, this card, of course, kind of says it all, doesn't it? This is the card of cruelty and worry, anxiety, sleepless nights. It's not a positive card, and this card represents, to me, the emotional state and the temperament of the world right now, dealing with Trump's USA. There's a lot of worry. There's a lot of anxiety. There's a lot of cruelty. A lot of the decisions that are coming out of the U.S. administration right now are having a very negative and detrimental effect on people, helpless people, people who don't have agency, people who don't have power. It's not a compassionate government out of the U.S. right now. This card is speaking to that in a big way. The next card I pulled was the Eight of Pentacles. This is the card of the apprentice. This is planning. This is strategy. This is working towards a goal. This is patience. And I think in this reading, this represents the approach that Carney is going to take. Leading Canada through this crisis will be something that the world will be paying attention to. And I think that this card is saying that he is the right person for this job because he is a strategist and he is very focused and pragmatic, and he will get the job done. The next card I pulled was the Three of Swords, which is the card of heartbreak. We're in for a bit more heartbreak, you know. We're in for more sadness and more sorrow in the short term. I don't think it's a long-term play. I think in the short term, the heartbreak is going hand in hand with the anxiety and the cruelty. And I think that this will continue for the next little while, but not for a long term. However, Five of Cups speaks to that heartbreak and that disappointment. Grief, regret, sadness, disappointment. And, you know, I mean, it kind of goes with everything else, the other cards that are coming up, right? The sorrow, heartbreak, grief and sadness, worry and anxiety. It's a very intense period for the planet right now. And we need leadership. We need someone to show us the light, to give us hope, so that we can work past our grief and our regrets. The Knight of Wands. Now, knights are passionate and they can be impulsive. So I think that this card speaks to Carney's drive and his willingness to take charge and for his willingness to move forward and take action. It's passionate action. But it can be, like I said, impulsive. Carney would be wise not to move too fast, too quickly, and to really focus on his strategy and patience to get this job done. But this is a good card showing that he does have the drive and the will to do it, and he will be charging forward, and that is what we need right now, is decisive action. Then, the next card I pulled was the Ace of Swords. Now, this is clarity and new ideas. It is cutting through the lies, cutting through the fiction, shedding light on facts. There's always two sides. It's a double-edged sword, right? So there's always two sides to a story. But this card says that the rightful story, the truth of the story, the clarity will come forward. It speaks to Carney's logical mind, and he deals in facts and numbers and solutions and seeing things clearly and knowing what needs to be done. And aces are also new beginnings. So I think that, in this situation, this card is actually working very closely with the Page of Swords, which is a fresh, idealistic energy. We have a fresh idealism, but it's going to be based on logic and facts and fundamentals and principles, known principles, especially of economics. That's really going to be moving forward with Carney. I decided also to pull some oracle cards because I find oracle cards give a depth to a reading. They tend to give it a nuance, so to speak. So the first oracle card I pulled from the Wisdom of the Oracle deck, actually produced by a psychic medium by the name of Colette Baron Reed, who is a inspiration for me as an empath and a clairvoyant and a medium. Her light shines, and her gifts are profound. And so I love her oracle deck, and that's the oracle deck that I use. That I pulled is Regeneration. Now, but it's reversed, right? So this card is saying don't expect rejuvenation quickly. If we're going to be putting the country of Canada and the world on a more positive path, on a new path, on a re-energized global economy, it's not going to happen quickly. This is going to be a process, and we'll have to, again, be patient. Patience is important because, again, back to The Apprentice, strategy and patience. This change, positive change, is not going to happen quickly. Next card I pulled was, this is really interesting when it comes to Mark Carney, because it is the Thinker. So this is a card of wisdom and introspection. And again, it really ties in with the other cards, like it's strategy, right? It is logic and facts and idealism, but, being pragmatic and really thinking things through and getting to the nuts and bolts and the guts of a situation and seeing the facts and knowing how to proceed in a proper manner. And so the Thinker, I think Carney is a thinker. I think this card really speaks to his intellect and the fact that he puts a lot of thought into everything he does, and nothing is handled lightly or off the cuff. He has a strategy. He's a planner. He's a thinker. He knows what direction he wants to take, and he goes there. So he does a lot of introspection, and that's good. We need that. Finally, the Outcome card, and I loved this card because for an oracle card, this one really spoke up. So this is Happy Happy. So how does one describe the card Happy Happy? It's a positive outcome. It doesn't get much better than Happy Happy. I think what this card is saying is we need to be optimistic. We need to be, there's bright times ahead, and we're going to be happy with the outcome of Carney's strategies. We're going to be happy because he's a strategic guy, and he's a planner, and he's a worker, and he's a thinker. And he only deals in facts, right? And he has a positive, fresh perspective, and he's got the drive and the energy and enthusiasm to get the job done. So in answer to the question, will Mark Carney save the world from Trump? Yeah. Let's be happy, because he will.